The patriarchal narratives, the stories of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of Genesis chapters 12 to 36, are part of a fictional national origin story created during the time of Josiah's Reformation program around 622 BCE. The Bible claims Abraham lived around 1800 BCE, but the Jews do not exist in the archaeological record as a distinct people in the Bronze Age. Israelite civilization evolved at the dawn of the Iron Age, approximately 1100 BCE, out of the chaos which ensued during the collapse of the Canaanite city-states. Therefore, it would be impossible for Abraham to have been the father of a people which would not develop for almost 1,000 years. Old Testament scholar Martin Noth hypothesized that the three men might very well have been real, but totally unrelated people from Canaanite ancestral history. The patriarchal narratives then, by this suggestion, built upon the traditions and legends already in the local history, embellishing and merging these traditions into a family epic. Noth noted that the stories related to each of the three are centered in very distinct regions.
The names of biblical places attracted the attention of a German researcher who in the 1940s made an inventory of all the places where the patriarch stories took place. His name was Martin Noth. The Bible tells us that Abraham, a nomad, bought some land near Hebron in which to die, but also in which to live. Hebron and Mamre are located in the center of Canaan, at the heart of its rocky hills. Continuing his geographical reading of the Bible, Martin Noth became interested in the second patriarch, Isaac, the son of Sarah and Abraham. The Bible tells us that Isaac was a shepherd living in the semi-arid south of Canaan. Martin Noth then turned to the third patriarch, Jacob. The biblical text tells us that he had to go to the north to the site of his original family in order to choose a wife. Other texts relating to him are situated in the mountainous regions of the north of Canaan. The geography of the three patriarchs led Martin Noth to suggest a reading of the Bible that was different to the traditional one.
Israeli archaeologist Israel Finkelstein points out in the same documentary that placing Abraham first in the lineage, given stories of Abraham are based in central Judah and Hebron, serves Judah's territorial ambitions. As part of Josiah's reform program, more on that in future videos, he wanted the lands of the former northern kingdom of Israel that had part of its population deported by the Assyrians about a century earlier, approximately 732 BCE, corresponding to the biblical story of the lost 10 northern tribes. Creation of the patriarchal narratives was thus useful propaganda to demonstrate his right to rule those lands, given the ancient precedent that the two kingdoms of Israel and Judah descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The patriarchal narratives also make numerous anachronistic references to peoples, places, and things which did not exist in the Bronze Age setting at the time of Abraham. Just as the Israelites emerged from the Bronze Age collapse, it was also during this period when the Philistines, settlers from the Sea People's invasion, arrived on the scene and established their cities along the southern portion of the Canaanite coast around Gaza. As with the timeline error in the origins of the Israelites, the same mistake of referring to the biblically disparaged Philistines in times before their existence is yet another reference that is out of sync with historical reality. Jacob is also mistakenly referred to as a wandering Aramaean, though some biblical translations tend to gloss over this anachronism by using the word Syrian instead. Like the Philistines, the Aramaeans are later arrivals on the scene and don't play any significant regional role until the early 9th century, when their kingdoms started to encroach on the northern borders of Israel. The patriarchal narratives also mention camel caravans, cities, and specific goods traded via the Arabian trade routes, which were not common or non-existent until the time of the Assyrian Empire, 1,000 years later. The mention of these anachronisms is very significant in that it reflects the times in which the writers were living. the experiences they were familiar with, and how they retroactively assigned these details to an invented past. If you like my content, please like and subscribe to get notified of new videos. Please also consider supporting my work by becoming a Patreon sponsor. You can also find me on the following platforms: